Hello, everybody, and happy Saturday to you. And if you're on the other side of the planet, happy Sunday to you. We are live, and we've already got 3 people in line and ready to go. And I think we're going to have a very busy night tonight. So let's see who's here. And I was having an audio issue. I think it's working. I just want to make sure. If you guys are all there, can you just say that you do hear me? I think I heard myself over there. I'm pretty sure it's all going to be working. And let's see. I'll wait for a second and I check something else quick. And hello's audio good. All right, we're good to go. Let's bring in James. Now, James was a guest about 2 years ago. I don't see the podcast number, but the title of the video that James was in. James.
Hello.
Well, nice to see you again. It's been about 2 years. How are you?
Yes, it has. Had no idea how this was going to work. I was sitting here reading a message on my phone.
Okay, well, welcome back. To let everybody know, James was here 2 years ago. The title of the video was, during James's near-death experience, he was reborn into a mystical ocean dimension. And from what I remember, you were like in the ocean swimming with dolphins or whales or something during your NDE. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, during all the time around the NDE before and then at some time after as well. I was an open water swimmer living in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you guys want to check that out, that video is there. And I can just see real quickly here, James is also an artist and a messenger of art and script. So what's been going on and what brings you back to come share with us tonight?
So much. New artwork.
Oh, wow. Maybe you can put do you have that? Are you on your phone?
No, I'm not.
Oh, I was going to say, it would be, it looks nice. I was hoping I could see it up closer, but that's okay.
We can do that.
We can do that?
I can. Oh, yeah.
Let's check out your artwork. What is your artwork? What is it about?
So my artwork is vibrational expression of that which is written in the DNA of the soul of the person that I may be painting for.
It's cool. I love that. I like the stars. Kind of have like a shimmery effect to them.
They have Swarovski crystals on them.
Oh, cool. What a great idea.
This is a very specific painting. So these 4 paintings came to me as a message over a 6-month period of time. And they are about the coming of the new earth. And this is the depiction of the new earth giving birth to a new paradigm where earth meets sky and they become whole again. And the dragonfly on the left, the butterfly on the right, and the last one I just hung earlier today, this is the doula, the midwife.
Oh, wow.
The ethereal midwife that has now come as a last step to the coming of the new earth.
When you say the new earth, are you referring to the ascension or something else?
Yes, as part of the ascension. Yes, as part of the ascension.
Cool.
Just like we as souls, before we come into these bodies, we make the choices of the journey that we would like to experience so that our souls can evolve and ascend. Well, our Mother Earth did the same thing with Source. She, as a soul, agreed to come here and be this home that humans could have for the time necessary until the arrival of their ascension. And the interesting thing that's been revealed to me is this is not the first time this process has happened in this realm on this planet for humans. Humans have been here before than just the 200,000 or so years that science tells us. But this time is the last time
Are you
that this
saying
process.
are you saying the earth is a sentient living being?
Oh, yes, with a soul, with her own vibrational frequency and state of being. And this is why she is doing so much shifting and changing, drying up in some places, flooding in other places, fires, and so many different volcanoes and all kinds of moving and shaking, I guess you could say.
Right.
And it's because she is about to go into labor, and she is about to take that step of coming into the place where she no longer will be a part of these old paradigms of how this rotation of souls and humans and all of the gathering of wisdom, all of that has come to an end, and the new paradigms. And this, the picture here, the top one, on the bottom part of it, there are actually, that was shown to me, there are images there of new life forms that have yet to be experienced and witnessed here on the earth. So it's a really beautiful time that
When
we're all here for.
when do you think the ascension's going to happen?
Well, it all depends upon humanity, because the more in the center of this circle, we've heard that number 144,000. Once 144,000 souls come into full alignment and awareness of who we are. Well, there are 144 crystals. I actually bought a bag of Swarovski crystals thinking, oh, I'll put a bunch on there. And it arrived in the mail, and there the number was 144. And I thought, well, that's a symbol. So the only thing that I have as far as a date is concerned for the initial phases of this of gold, like the initial phases of labor, I guess you could say, is March 15th of this spring.
That's when
Exactly.
labor begins?
Yes, exactly 3 years after this country went into lockdown for COVID. And these past 3 years have been a dress rehearsal. They have been a time for those of us who would choose to step out of our jobs, step out of get off the hamster wheel, all these things, and really take a look of what's going on around us, and more importantly, what's going on within us and what we're being called to do. And so I believe that that is going to be around that time, um, the spring solstice is going to be when the whole situation begins.
What, in your opinion, what does the ascension or the new earth look like? What will we see? How will we feel?
Well, what's been revealed to me through paintings, through all the messaging that I've been receiving, is that it will be a revelation, meaning it will be a light shown so brightly upon exactly who we are, very much like the NDE state does. Because when, as you've heard in so many of the beautiful stories that you have brought out with people in your conversations, one of the most important things that I think everyone, just about everyone, says is that the awareness of the soul self, the full awareness of all that is. And so I think I forgot your question.
Um, I was going to say, what does the ascension look like? Like,
Look
does
like.
the earth look
So
different? How do we react?
so the revelation is about that awareness. Physically, it will be a 72-hour period of time where we will only see the reality, which is the light. and it will be 72 hours of what we may perceive physically as daylight,
Mm.
but not because the earth has stopped rotating or the stars and the moons and the suns aren't moving. It's because, as this depicts in this picture, there are so many light beings that are already surrounding the earth, and they will open their light to the earth, that all we will see is that light for 72 hours. And we will all almost 8 billion of us, will become fully aware of who we really are, beyond this physical form, beyond the illusional perspective of duality. There's so many that are still looking towards divine feminine, divine masculine, all these things. And these are just still mind-based perspectives of who we are, because divinity knows no gender. We are so much more expansive than the limitation of that. All of this and so much more will be shown to us. That period will end, and then everyone, as we have always had, will have their free will to choose. What will
Well,
you do?
do you think we'll experience bliss for those 72 hours?
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's the same bliss, yes, that we receive in the NDE state. It will be absolute bliss. And but the interesting thing that I've received that will occur is we'll have that time, and then due to everyone's individual place they are in their journey, after that 72 hours, then there is the question, what will you choose? What will you do with this wisdom? There will be those who are like, oh, we're home.
Hmm.
Oh, thank God, and just like, oh man, just and receive it fully and be in joy. And
Hmm.
there'll be those who then want that same joy and will be looking for assistance and for help. And there'll be those like myself and so many others that are prepared to give that assistance to them. And then there'll be those who are confused and those who are, unsure, and all these things. Even with all of that, as you have seen, even those who have gone through NDEs, there's still a lot to process and a lot to go through. And then there'll be a very other end of the spectrum of people that it's just too much. And they'll find an exit plan,
Hmm.
whatever that exit plan for them looks like. Um, I truly feel that there will be quite a bit of chaos in the world until all of the decisions are finally made. But the most important thing to be aware of in this new earth, just as the tree has no awareness of itself as the individual tree, and only the awareness of itself as part of the forest, that's the only paradigm that will exist in the new earth. We will no longer see ourselves as individuals, but an integrated aspect of the whole. So this means an absolute alignment with harmony, an absolute alignment with the reality of all that we are. And only those who will align with that will be able to ascend to the new earth. Those who choose otherwise will go elsewhere, will have other paths and other journeys. And the beauty is there's no wrong choice.
Let me ask you this, because I've had another guest say that there's going to be a new Earth, but this Earth will also stay here. And some people will stay here and some people will go to the new Earth. Do you see it that way?
I do. I do. But you have to imagine there are so many of us, and you've obviously spoken to many of them and put the beautiful messages out for them on video. There are many of us who are ready for that, are ready for that harmony. And even if we don't know the ins and outs of all of it, we're willing to find a way to seek that wisdom. All of those will then go to the new earth. What will be left are those who are choosing discord and illusion
Hmm.
and a lot of things. So I would imagine that the destructive aspect of that will only speed up. And what will then be of this earth? I don't know. I don't imagine. I don't feel it transcending, or because the soul that is our Mother Earth that we know now, she will be ascending together with the new Earth. What takes that place? Maybe AI, maybe things like that that people are looking to and believing in, and things like that, and then they'll see the reality of that as well.
Wow. Well, James, before I have to go, I don't think you had one when we got together years ago, but do you have a website now or any way where
I do.
if
I
people
actually
want to
have
connect
three.
with you?
Yes, I have three places that can connect. I've gotten myself together a little better.
Good for you.
So I have a website,
Mm-hmm.
and the website is www.alignmentlife11.com. It's all one word, alignment life, and then the number 11.com. And my email is alignmentlife11@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And I have two Instagram pages. One is Alignment Life, where I post all of my paintings, and there are conversations and videos and things there. But we just put together something called the Wisdom Tree, where we sell prints. A lot of my artwork is going on garments and T-shirts and hoodies and all kinds of wonderful things,
Cool.
and pieces like this.
I was looking at that. That's really interesting.
This is something that came to me. I'll show you the whole thing.
All right.
It's something that came to me in a vision about being, um, I don't know what to call it, an assistant to humanity. This is a shooting star,
Well, it's awesome.
and it's called the Ignorat Quest, and it is a piece that a friend of mine is of many that he is making, that we are offering, and also allowing people to design something their own, maybe something they've seen, something they've sketched, and all of those things are there on the Wisdom Tree page at wisdom.tree1122 on Instagram.
You know, what's funny is even though I haven't seen you in 2 years, things kind of flash back to me. And 2 years ago, were you making jewelry,
I was
Uh,
making the
necklaces?
little pieces, yeah, the
Yeah.
amulets.
Yeah, it's amazing that I just came. I was like, I remember he used to make necklaces or something.
Well, that's where it started. I started with the necklaces, the vibrational expressions on the amulets and the pendants,
Hmm.
and it's evolved into receiving these kinds of paintings. And I do a service called a soul painting, where a person comes and is interested in having a piece done, and I will have a conversation with them,
Have
just
you
like you and I are
ha-
now.
have you painted your NDE? I think you have, haven't you? Kind of that.
No,
You
not my
haven't?
NDE, not that
Hmm.
experience, but I have painted my own soul painting, and all of these images are things that are wisdom that is written in my own DNA. Each of us has a world of wisdom written in our DNA. And when I do a soul painting, it is a message and an image of something that that soul says that that person needs to come into awareness of who they really are. And those are done in and a painting about this size
Hmm.
right here. It's a 16 by 20. And what happens is I have the conversation, and the person's soul comes to me and tells me the story.
That's great.
Shows me the image and tells me the story that of who they really are, so they can have that awareness.
Great. James, thank you for coming and sharing with us. And I
You're
wish you
welcome.
lots of success with your new website. And don't wait 2 years to come back and visit us again.
Oh, definitely, definitely will. And I want to thank you, because a lot of people have contacted me
Oh,
from
great.
your podcast.
That's
So
awesome.
thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Take care. God bless you and
All right.
see you around.
Same to you.
Mhm. All right, that was James. And again, we did that podcast about 2 years ago, and it's nice to see someone, it's like seeing an old friend. I mean, I haven't seen him in 2 years, and I already kind of took it down, but I had it up here what that podcast was called. Anyways, we got to get moving. We're having a busy night tonight. Next up is Raphael. So we'll see what Raphael is up to. And then we got Rebecca and Messa, aka Ben. Oh, I shouldn't have took that down yet. Maybe the person needs help. Put this, ask to start video. And if you want to join us.
Oh, yeah.
Hello?
Oh, hey, Jeff, how you doing?
I'm here. Hello. Raphael, how are you?
Yeah, hey, how's it going?
Great. How are you? Have you been on before?
No, never.
You look familiar.
Yeah, I mean, I know, right? People always tell me that, like, you look familiar, but
Where are you?
man?
Where are you zooming from?
Maybe in a past life, Jeff.
Possibly. Maybe we're in a. Where are you zooming from?
I'm from home, from San Diego.
Oh, San Diego. Okay, great. So, what do you have
Yeah.
to share with us this evening?
Yeah, well, basically, give me a sec. I had a near-death experience, but again,
Really?
like, I didn't really actually have like any accidents or, I wasn't in an operating room or anything like this. But for me, it was basically the way I see it, or the way I interpret it later on, was like it was more like of an initiation of the awakening. So because I was in my room, and okay, so my whole life I was able to see spirits. So that's one thing that so I'm used to seeing family members, and they'll come see me, grandpa, grandma, my dad, just different family members, so like, hey, what's going on? So I'm used to that, the greetings and all this stuff. So one time I was actually in my room, and I was actually asleep, and then I ended up waking up because I felt an energy, and then I thought it was, I thought it was a spirit, but then at that moment I realized that it was an energy. It was like a cloud that came in, and at that precise moment I knew it was like, basically death or near death, or basically it was coming from my soul, like it was time to go.
Oh, wow.
And so then at that moment I ended up just leaving my, and then I saw the light, and once I saw the light I ended up just going into the light, because like everyone in your program and everyone that talks about NDs, or it's that love, that joy, bliss is beyond words, that you like, it's undescribable, and all you want to do is go into that light, because you don't even question it. So I automatically left my body, and I automatically went into the light. And then once I went into the light, I saw all my family members on the other side, kind of like greeting me, and they were all like, all laughing, smiling, and it was just like, whoa, what's going on? So it was the whole thing that it was just, it was just very overwhelming with joy and bliss, and it was like, it was the happiest day of my life, and for them as well. They were like just extremely happy, and so they all came and hugged me, and whatever, just we're all laughing. I saw my grandma, grandpa, uncles, nephew, all kinds of family members, and then after that, after the greetings, we called usually in NDs, they call the greetings. After that, I went into, they were like, okay, we'll see you later, and then we say goodbye. And then after that, I went into a chamber where that's where the council light, that's where there's a council light that is able to see your life review. So then I was able to see the life review of my life. Now, what I saw, which each one of those councils of light, or each one of those angels, or what do you want to call them, each one of them represented like a different virtue or lesson that we're here to learn. So one of them, represented unconditional love. Another one represented, kindness. Another one represented compassion. Another one represented, forgiveness. Another one, letting go. Another one, integrity. Another one, honesty. Another one, just the different lessons that we're here to learn in life. And they show me, how when I show kindness, when I help an old lady cross the street, when I just show kindness, that's usually what they were showing to me in my life review, was when I show kindness to people. And then at that point, it was really interesting, because at that point, I realized that this life was a dream, and that was the real world. And I was just like, oh my God, that was all a dream. Like that was crazy. And that's when I know, when they talk about the nirvana, I mean the Maya, you know, the illusion in Buddhism and Hinduism, they say, well, it's all an illusion. At that precise moment, I knew what that meant, you know, because it was like, my God, that was all a dream. Like it was overwhelming, you know, like no way. Like it was just like very overwhelming, shocking. And I was like, and that changed my life a lot when I came back, you know, seeing life in a different lens perspective, more in the blissful lens, because I'm like, I always remind myself, it's just all a dream, you know, so let's not get caught up so much in the drama and all these things, you know. So I try to always remind myself that it was all a dream. And then also at that point, I was able to see the cycle of reincarnation, of, you know, of lives that was shown to me. And because I mean, I didn't really believe in reincarnation before, and I didn't know, you know, it's just, but at that, in that experience, I was able to see a circle with many lines, and then I realized that each one of those lines represented, you know, a past life. But what they were shown to me was that they're all happening at the same time, just at different frequencies. So all the lifetimes are really happening within the same time, just at different frequencies. And then I was shown a couple past lives as well. And then I was shown, and I'll have 6 more lifetimes to finish the whole cycle. You can keep coming back, you know, once you finish the cycle, but it was shown to me that I had like 6 more lives to finish the cycle. And then also at that point, it was really interesting because, you know, they show me what it's like actually when you finish the whole cycle of, you know, the
Where do you go
reincarnation.
next?
Yeah, exactly. You know, it was a very powerful, you know, revelation experience that I had, where it was shown to me that, you know, again, it was just like a glimpse of, you know, what it's like. So when it was shown to me that once I finished the whole cycle, once we finish the whole cycle, you know, we become ascended masters, we become enlightened beings, you know, like all the enlightened beings from history that have, you know, shown their teachings and everything. It says you become a master and you become one with the universe, you become one with the collective, everything, you know. And then once you graduate, you know, your graduation. So, you know, everybody thinks like, okay, that's it, you know. But what happened at that point was 3 beings of light came, and they were like my parents, you know. I felt like they were really, really advanced beings, and they came and kind of like I was graduating from kindergarten. That's where it really felt like. And I was just like, oh my God, like here I am thinking I'm an ascended master, and then it's like, I'm just graduating from kindergarten. Like, what? It was
That's
just
pretty
like
crazy.
overwhelming, you know, and that keeps you in a space of a really being humble, you know, that no matter how advanced we start going, it's just, it'll be the beginning of the next stage, you know. So then those 3 beings, you know, again, I saw them as my parents, and I was just like, well, and they were like, congratulations, you did a great job. And I felt like a little kid, you know, compared to them, because they were really, really advanced beings. And then I was just like, okay, you know. And then after that, it was like we were in a circle, like in a classroom. And then there was a door, and we walked out of that, you know, out of that door. And that classroom was the universe, our universe. That was actually the universe. And then we walked out, and then I saw other universes or classrooms that, you know, where we can go after we finished the whole cycle. And what was shown to me, I remember in one of the universes or one of the classrooms, you can, like, you know, you can become a creator. So you can start, like, you know, creating planets, creating galaxies, creating universes, creating life in the, you know, in different forms. So that, you know, in that, basically in that universe or that classroom, you actually become a creator. And then you start, you know, and then of course there's levels in that school, right? So you're probably starting from small, and, you know, creating small life, and then you start creating planets and galaxies and suns, you know, everything. So, and then that was one universe or one classroom, and then there was another classroom or universe, and that was in, you know, in that one there was like you could become like an Akashic record, multiverse, you know, record keeper of parallel universes, and so you can kind of see how the whole structure of the, you know, all the information is stored from multiple universes. So that was another school, and then another school, another universe was like you can actually, you know, you can actually reincarnate again either on Earth or different planets, but with really evolved abilities. So like teleportation and telepathy and communicating with different star systems. So then, so you can also, you know, go, you know, reincarnate as a human or as a different, you know, being in a different planet, either in this universe or in a parallel universe. and have more of those higher abilities. And so that was that. And then and then I also saw that there was parallel universes, and that in all those universes there was different laws, and or different schools as well. And then after that, I was just like, wow, so it was a pretty powerful experience, because I'm like, oh my god. And then after that, I was like, they're like, okay, well, you can go now after the.
Time
And
to
I'm
go
like,
back to
thank
school.
you. Well, see, I know, like, here I was finishing kindergarten, like, okay, have a little recess, like, okay.
Well,
And
since
then
you've
after that,
since
sorry.
you've been since you've been back and you know this is a dream, do you still get caught up in in life and forget that it is a dream?
I try to remind myself, I do try to remind myself. Sometimes, here and there you get cut off, right? With,
Would you
problems, whatever.
would you
But
say
I
this
do
is
try to run.
would you
Sorry?
say would you say this is more a dream or like we're in the Matrix, like a
It's
simulation?
both. Like, so it's a simulation, right? A matrix, or, or a dream. So it's kind of like it's one and the same for all of them. And I think being in that state, it makes me, I'm really happy. I'm always laughing, really positive. So I think that's one of the things that, one of the keys to my life is like I try not to get so caught up in all the problems and all the media, all the news and everything that's going on. At the end, you realize that everything is happening for the evolution of humanity. And 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 then you start having different experiences as well. Like you start seeing the future, maybe as you start ascending. Also, after the life review, there's the Akashic records. I know you've talked about a lot in different people you interview. So there's the Akashic records where you see all your lifetimes. And then after that, there's the dimensions. So those are the levels that the souls keep ascending. So as we keep ascending, we start going up in dimensions, higher dimensions. And then as you start going up in higher dimensions, then you start having access to seeing more of the future or time traveling. So then you start seeing like the whole matrix of either your soul, as like the matrix of your reincarnation soul, or you start seeing the whole collective. So then you start having access to the future, seeing that there is a divine plan, and the divine plan, it really is the utopia that eventually humanity will be at a fifth dimensional level of consciousness, and be one world. So you start having access to it, and then you realize like, okay, all along there is a divine plan. And at the same time, it's all about the journey. You see what I'm saying? Because it's all about how we're evolving. Even those baby steps. We all wish we were there now, right? With this utopia, peace, and union, and everything. But you realize they will eventually get there.
In the beginning, you called it an initiation. Why did you use that word initiation? It sounds like something,
Yeah. So
different.
I call it initiation because I actually didn't die. Like I wasn't in like in an operating room, or I wasn't in a car accident. So that's why I didn't. So for me, it's more like I believe that souls, as they keep evolving, then they start going through initiations of their own awakening. It's like you're awakening basically.
You
Um,
think that the entities or spirits pulled you out of your body and brought you there?
Yeah, I think so. So it was just more like, okay, it's your initiation of your awakening, of your soul evolution, and it's time to start seeing, the real world, the real matrix of, it's not being unplugged from the matrix, like the movie The Matrix, right? So then you start, then you start having your awakening. That's the whole thing about being awakened, right? Because then you realize it's all a dream, or then you start seeing the fabric of the afterlife. That's kind of like it's the soul that goes through parallel lives of multiple lifetimes, and the whole thing is about balancing the karma, and the whole thing is about purifying your soul, your heart, and at service as well. Like for me, I started volunteering with people with learning disabilities
That's
and
great.
visually impaired people, and that really helped me have a lot of my experiences. So that through service, helping people, it's a way to start. I mean, it's not the only way, but definitely it's as you start having some of these experiences, you start you know um, want to be of service, and that's one of the things you start doing and stuff. So um, and then so then after that, after that experiences, I started kind of like having the awakening, and then through the awakening is more like I start having out of body experiences. And then so you start having out of body experiences. First it started in my, I was I was walking. The first time I had an out of body experience was in Germany, because I used to live in Germany. and I went for a run, and then all of a sudden I started seeing the auras of everything, and then I kind of stopped, and then I left my body, and then and then I went back into my body, and then I started having many out of body experiences from there. In my room, I started leaving my body, and then I started going into different places on Earth. I started going to traveling into different places on Earth, and the way is really cool because kind of like in the movie Avatar, where you go from his human body into his avatar body, and he travels in this kind of like wormhole. That's how you travel. That's how your soul travels, and can go to different places. That's those are out of body experiences. So then you start having out of body experiences and start going, to different places on Earth, and then you start going out into the universe. Then you start having experiences where you start having out of body experiences out to the universe, and then also one thing I like to show too, also share is that, like, in the life review, when they show you a life review, you become everything in the life review. So you become other people, you become objects, plants, trees, leaves, animals. Like you start becoming everything within your life review. You actually do become all those things. And it was just also a really cool experience that when you have your life review, you kind of like realize that it's all one energy, one source, that it's just expressing itself in different forms. And I guess one of the things too I like to I'm trying to figure out as far as like how can all of these experiences really help try to help people. So I think one of the best things is like from having all these experiences is that I think everything we're here to like master, to become an ascended master, or is to learn lessons, to master the lessons in life. So so at the end of the day, it's like decoding life lessons and understanding, like, why am I going through this experience in life? So people can. That's what I think that maybe that's my mission as far as helping people, understand why they're going through experiences. And okay, well, this experience you're you're learning to let go. Like, you have to let go. That's why you're going through this experience. And then if you don't confront the experience, it's just going to keep coming back in different scenarios. You see what I'm saying? So at the end, you have to have the courage to confront, whatever situations you're going through, because it's trying to teach you to let go. You see what I'm saying? So that's could be, so so if people are able to understand and decode the whole life lessons, like, okay, this experience happened so that I can learn to let go. Like, okay, perfect. And then this other experience happened so that I can have more courage and I become stronger, because maybe I'm too weak, maybe I don't like to speak my mind, maybe other people influence me too much, and I don't I don't have the courage to stand for myself, or I don't have the courage to go after my dreams. So then at the end, this experience is coming to your life to teach you that, so that you can have the courage to to go after your dreams, or whatever it is. So that's another. So then that's maybe understanding. Okay, why am I going through this experience? Well, because you need to learn the lesson, right?
Yeah.
Or what? So so decoding like why life lessons happen. Maybe forgiveness, maybe whatever, patience, and being humble. Just different experiences in life that we all go through. That at the end, it's like, well, there's a reason for all experiences. So we're all here to learn. We're all here to evolve, and we're all here to keep on growing, and so we finish that cycle so that we can then start going to the next schools and next universes.
Well, Raphael, I could probably have a lot of questions to ask you, but I have to move on to the next guest. I got people waiting, so I hope that you come back next week or another Saturday so I can actually have time and ask you some questions.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Jeff, and then I will, I want to work on a website, and I want to, I want to eventually write a book and all this stuff.
Great.
So, but for sure, there's, I like to share more with you and
Yeah.
everything. So,
all right. Well, thanks for coming. I really appreciate you, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jeff. Take care.
Take care. All righty. That was Raphael, and next we have Rebecca. And we're moving along tonight. Uh-oh, I don't know what that was, but I had to mute that because that was music. If you're there, Rebecca, turn off your music. If you can hear me, turn off your music. Let's see.
Hello?
Yeah, there you go. I,
Sorry, I was waiting for you. I didn't know what was happening.
that's okay. I muted it real quick. But you're sideways. Can you turn your phone sideways? There you go. Perfect. Perfect. So we were chatting a little bit. You're from Australia, and I said, why don't you come on Saturday and share with us? So you're here. Thank you for coming. What part of Australia
Thank
are you
you.
from?
New South Wales, Sydney.
Oh, cool. Awesome. That's
Yeah.
great. All right. Well, what do you have to share?
I've got lots of experiences, but I felt like would be very helpful to tell people about my testimony about the love of God.
Mm.
Just because it's so hard being in this world to believe that God is love sometimes. So one of my experiences was I was in my lounge room one day, and I started to spend time with God, and the power of God was full on. It was coming down on me like a fire hose. It was like insane. I was on the floor by this time, and it was one of those things where it felt very glorious. It felt like physical and the invisible. I was very much aware of that. Obviously, I had a bit of a guilt complex thing before that, so I'm like sorry to God about this and that. But what happened after that is I actually felt somebody hands on my shoulders, and I saw a place. Here I'm feeling a lot of Holy Spirit. So for me in our church, it's the Holy Spirit. So I'm actually at this point, I saw a place where two people are standing and they're face to face with one another. And for some reason, I knew in that moment I had some kind of option to go there or not. And I thought, I'm going to go there. And I just was automatically, when I decided I want to go there, I was there. And I was in front. So there was two people. So now there's me in front of this other person. And I see this person as God. So for me, I saw it looked like Jesus, and it looked like God the Father radiating through Jesus. And I'm in front of this person standing. For me, it's God. The kind of light I saw, I can't describe it properly, because it was light upon light upon light upon a light, and it was like so much, I can't describe it properly. And it was righteousness, like nobody can be as righteous. That's the way I saw it in my perception. It was that righteous and blamelessness. I was in front of, for me, I saw God, and he was just, well, there's no he or she on that, but God was full on just blameless. And I could feel like a force where he's holding me in front of him. I had a complete awareness that there's nothing I have ever done or will ever do where I will be able to try to qualify for the love of God, because I saw that he was qualifying me completely and utterly. I can't describe the force I was feeling of him holding me there, and the glory that I was like in another place. But at the same time, I was in my living room, which is very interesting. So I still had an awareness of two places. But while this is actually happening, there's different realities happening here, because there is that reality where God is loving me and he's showing that he's not counting my sins against me. He is fully accepting me and loving me in exactly where I'm at. But I was actually very sad. There was another reality going on where I was very sad, a kind of sadness that I realized the people I hurt in my life that was like a personal attack against the most blameless person you can ever think of. Because I'm looking at God being so blameless. I could see it wasn't a nice feeling that I had. I wouldn't want to give it to anyone. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. I've hurt a lot of people. Um, it wasn't a nice feeling knowing that the people I hurt, I was hurting God too. So, but still, God was in front of me, and he's giving me all of his righteousness, all his blamelessness, everything that he is, he's giving it to me. There was so much power coming down on me. I can't describe it to you. It was like a fire hose as well. It was real crazy. It was like I've never had that experience like before that. I went to I've been really religious in my life, really legalistic type of person I've been. So for me, feeling guilty a lot of the time, it was really like it was amazing, because I had such assurance that when I die, I'm going to be with Jesus. And I guess for me before that too, is how do I describe who God is? That's the question. Because I can see I'm looking at Jesus, but I can see God the Father radiating through him. And he is sharing, in a lot of sense, he's clothing who he is. He's giving it to me based on nothing I've done. And it's interesting because I believed in Jesus before that, but actually it's like I'd never seen Jesus before that. It's like it was something out of this world.
Well, how did you change after this experience?
I could have gone insane a lot of times. I tried to find the right church to tell people about this God that I found out about. That wasn't exactly, I didn't feel like a lot of churches had told me about God like that. So I went out looking for churches so I could lead people to the right church. I found a lot of human beings there in these churches. I found out this is that being in this human body, for me, I have one of those guilt complexes, and I've got a lot of child trauma and a lot of things. So it's very easy to believe ourselves and how we're feeling and what we think we look like. And I found that it took a lot of faith for me to actually still believe what God has shown me about who I am. I'm literally as good as God is. And that can be hard to believe about myself when I look in the mirror or think about myself while I'm in this body. So it's taken, even to this day, it takes a faith to really grab hold of that and fellowshipping with God's Holy Spirit. I find I need God to remind me of who I am a lot, because I'm just like any human being. I can feel pretty crap about myself, especially if someone treats me. I've been rejected a lot as well after that experience. Not everyone believes me, or they don't really take it seriously. It is real. I would say, what God thinks about us is so much better than we can naturally think about ourselves. And I think we definitely need God's Holy Spirit to tell us that, because I'll be honest, I'm very stubborn in my head because I can really believe in it at times. I've had another experience where I found myself on top of the earth. So after that, I was praying a lot, found myself praying over the earth. And I found myself on a rock in space.
So you had an out-of-body experience?
I don't know if you can think it's that. I don't know what it is. But it felt pretty real. So God really loves the earth. He loves everybody in the earth. He's all for us. He's not against us. So I was on top of the rock, and I I was like, it was in my bedroom actually when I was praying. So I saw somehow it was downloaded into me how the sun and the out around the stuff around the earth was created for the earth. And I felt like I was getting so charged with all this download. It was crazy. Like I felt like I couldn't contain it. And it was very quick. It was happening at a speed I can't explain. But I saw like you can imagine power, 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 love, love, love. Everything that has been created from a God who is love, and because he loves us. And that's my perspective of how I saw it at that time while I was having that. After that experience, I decided to go to a park to have coffee. I just thought I'm going to go and have coffee and a banana bread. So I was out. This was in the public now. This is in public. So I'm in the park. There are people around here and there. They're not too many there exactly. But then I found myself on that rock again over the earth. And then I jumped from the rock, and I jumped down to the earth. And there were waves upon waves of, all I can tell you is creation information. I'm trying to explain it to you. Creation information. There are waves upon waves, and I felt myself going through all of this creation information all the way down to the bottom. And in all of that, I could feel and sense that every single thing that God has created, it is love. It's because he is love. Everything is love, and it's created from love. And I could feel myself drop from the rock to the earth. I know this is, and I mean, this is why maybe a lot of people don't want to maybe believe me, but I just, or take me seriously, but I mean, I went through it. Yeah. Another thing on top of that is, I don't know if I want to make sure I fit in the time, is that God showed me how he's going to save everybody, and how everyone is saved.
That's good.
And yeah, 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 he showed me that. So I kind of saw it when I was feeling the Holy Spirit. I was sitting in my lounge one day, and I look, I have to believe it's from God, okay? I saw, it looked to me like I pray over the earth a lot, so it looked to me like it was in space, but I don't know about that. To me, it looked like Jesus went into a person, and I saw all healed. I saw everybody healed. I didn't see people were saved, but they didn't know about it. I really saw everyone becoming healed. Now, on another occasion, I have seen that this earth is, that we are children of God. So it could, like, maybe like the earth in the shape of a man, but of Jesus. It's all of us are coming to know. I think there's a story going on earth here, and I'm fully aware that I was with God before this. So I'm aware that we're in a love story, and what's happening is we're all going to come. That's the goal, is we're all coming to see who we really are, to live out who we really are, Christ in us, the hope of the glory, and for that to for us to come to see that. This is my understanding of it. I had another experience which will be very interesting.
I'm gonna have to have you save it for next week, Rebecca. I've got to get moving on to the next person.
Okay, yeah. But I thank you for your time, and it's a really good assurance that God loves us, and that it's a good love story that we're in. God saves people.
I love that idea that we're all in a love story. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Well, Rebecca, don't be a stranger. Come back and tell us your next experience next time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day over there.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, so we're all in a love story. I think that's a great idea. And next we've got Mesa, aka Ben. And we're pretty busy. We have 263 viewers. That means I should have about 2 or 3 more of you already waiting. If you've been thinking about it, I thought I saw someone in the chat that said they wanted to come in. All you have to do is you go to Zoom and you click join a meeting. And then once you're there, it's going to ask you for the room ID, and the room ID is right below. And then it'll ask you for the password, and that's right below, and it's case sensitive, so you use that to join. And on that note, Ben, how are you today?
Oh, hello. Very good.
You got a jacket on. Is it cold there?
Oh, it's very cold. I can, well, I can't see my breath anymore. It's a little bit hotter than this morning, but
Is it snowing
we don't have,
outside?
yeah, it was in the morning.
Ooh.
But we have no heating now, so I usually dress warm
Dress
for the
for the
winter.
occasion, yeah. I'm still warm where I'm at. I like it when it gets cold. It's nice to wear a jacket sometimes.
Yeah, I really like when you go out and there's dew everywhere. Cold dew.
Right.
So you can really feel the cold.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
Yeah. Now you're in the Netherlands, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
I honestly have. I had something to share, but
Now you forgot
I
it?
was here. No, I was hearing Raphael and the man before him. I forgot his name. Sorry. And there were so many synchronicities with me and them.
Really?
It was so much fun. Yeah.
Like what? What were the synchronicities?
Well, for one thing, that this world will evolve and become another Earth, and this Earth will stay.
And you also think there's going to be 2 Earths.
Well, there are already several Earths, but this specific one, is going to split soon. Well, not soon, maybe in a century or something, at least not in my lifetime.
All right, it sounded like he was saying it may happen in March.
I have no idea.
So that it's getting close, if that's for real. That's true.
Yeah, I think so. And spiritually, it's going to be very hard for us. You see, he didn't say that, but it's trying to adapt to living underwater. It's really hard for us at that moment. And yeah, it's not going to be fun, but when it's done, you'll be happy for it.
What were some of the other synchronicities you saw?
Oh, damn it, I already forgot.
Do you normally see a lot of synchronicities or meaningful coincidences in your life?
No, just when I watched your videos and the other NDEs and paranormal videos, a lot of it just makes sense in a whole. What was the other one? Let me think. I think it was about Raphael's NDE, or
Raphael's.
I think
and James was the first one.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Raphael's OBE, the afterlife, how it's described it was exactly like that for me. So I didn't have OBE, I didn't have everything. I just had a voice telling me how it was. And
was it telling you the same thing that he described?
Basically.
That's nice.
Except
confirmation.
That it's a bit more complicated than he thinks. It's like there are like negative levels of the afterlife, positive levels of the afterlife. Negative is like if you're really in deep and you live like really negatively, like doing bad stuff, and you'll sink down below for a few lifetimes, and then you'll eventually go up again. And when you go up infinitely, and you'll keep learning and you keep getting more choices, And what's funny about mine, he was talking about schools and jobs. And my soulmate, a few months ago, she was ecstatic because she had something to tell me, but she wasn't allowed. And apparently, it's about after all my reincarnations, we'll be together, and I'll have a job I really, really, really like, and I have no idea what it is, but she really wanted to tell me, and she wasn't allowed by her officials, so to speak. And yeah, and a lot of my psychosis was about world creating. So the voices really wanted to have that school. They really wanted to make worlds for themselves and create life, all that stuff.
What do you think your mission is in this life?
My mission? Ooh, that's a hard one because I have several. My first mission was to help those voices, apparently. The second one was to help my mother because she has a really hard life. So I'm her support. And there's a third one, and that's a secret thing we're all doing in the background. We do it subconsciously, we do it not in this time and space. There's an extension of ourselves that is doing something really out there, and I have no idea what, but they keep talking about it, so it's supported. And we'll do that a few lifetimes in a broad spectrum, like Raphael said.
Mm-hmm.
And then after 100 years or so, or when we lived out those lives, we graduate, and then we get to choose more lives, but fun ones, instead of ones that are constantly negative and low energy. And then we graduate again, and then we get really cool jobs, so to speak, in the afterlife. And I don't have no idea what's after that. Apparently, I think it's like going on vacation or something in another universe where the possibilities are out of this world.
Now, Raphael mentioned that he was on the soul cycle and he has 3 more incarnations left.
Yeah.
And you've told us before that you are a new soul. So if you know about this soul cycle, how many incarnations do you think you have?
I only have this one because
That's it? You're just coming once and that's it?
yeah, it's that's why my life is on easy mode.
Where will you go next?
Well, I know because I wrote it down. It's another Earth, just like this one, and I'm gonna be born in Egypt. Then, well, a world like Egypt, and then I'm gonna live out 50 years or so. Then I'm gonna die. Then I'm gonna live out a whole bunch of lives, and then the last one, which is the one I keep wanting to talk about, is that same world as the first one, but it's this era. So it's like I will be born in 1989 or something, and the world is totally different. No war, no poverty, no genocide. Everything will be great. Lots of churches, lots of happy people, and basically everybody will remember their previous lives, and it will be like a vacation world. That's basically all about talking about our previous incarnations and how fun they were compared to this one, at least.
That'll be great. I'm ready.
Yeah.
We're probably all ready for a vacation incarnation.
Yeah, and this is the fun part. I'm not trying to say I'm special, but this is from a dream of mine, and my soulmate confirmed it for me.
Mm-hmm.
There will be special people who will be chosen by, well, I know you have Trump people over there, so don't worry. It was a guy like him, but worse.
Hmm.
And he makes a deal with interplanetary beings who aren't nice and who want to take over that world. And that world will have champions, and I'm one of them. I don't know how I'm gonna help, but I'll be in all the body, so we'll see. And after this, we'll publicly open the worlds. So all the reincarnations will be open.
Hmm.
And that's where the fun begins, because we have all those lives, all those talents, all those memories. And that's where when the true vacation starts, because you have all those talents again. So if you were a singer, if you were a cook, if you were a movie maker, if you were a writer, all those things will come back, and you'll be famous and you have lots of money. Not that you needed it, because economy will be stable compared to here. And that's by the way, that's because all the people we have now who are greedy and are on the top, they will have those live reviews, which they will see themselves in other people, and they will change their minds, and that's the only thing that will change them in the end.
Right.
So that's one of the things that's going to be fun, because those people will be gone.
Well, Ben, I'm gonna have to run on you on that one.
Okay,
on that note,
see
I've
you
got to
next
run.
week.
All right, see you next week.
Bye.
Stay warm, take care, and have a great rest of your night.
Bye.
Cheers. All right, next up we've got Casey Munzer. Oh, and I need to say this real quick, and I want to say thank you to PD Pete, not only for the super thanks, I really appreciate that, but also he's got great news that we have completed up to 30 episodes of time stamping, so that's awesome. And special thanks to Minnie Rapunzel and Away Ken and Olga A. So if you don't know anything about that, when I get a break, if I get a break, I'll mention that again. But if you want to help us timestamp all the subjects in the videos, there's like at least 400 of them, and Pete is spearheading the project, where if you could even just do one video and he has the whole thing for that. That's all in Discord, and I'll try to, like I said, put in a word for that when I get a chance later. At some point I will put in a word about that, even if it's like at the end of the night. But that's what he is mentioning here. And if you could probably just message him directly if you want to know more. And
I love you.
I don't know if that was for me.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you tonight?
Great. How are you? And where are you zooming from?
I am zooming from the Midwest, Indiana.
Oh, awesome.
And my name is Casey Munzer. I was Mrs. Indiana Prime.
Wow.
And now I am in Mrs. Earth USA, representing the state of Indiana. I'll be competing in April.
Awesome.
Which is right near my birthday. So that's really cool. So we can go ahead and dive into what I've so desperately been wanting to share with you since I first discovered your channel.
Oh, well, let's talk
I'm
about it.
going to set my phone on the stand here so we can get into it. So when I was a young girl, I was very ill. I was very ill, and I know my parents loved me. They just were young, and they didn't recognize how sick that I was. I think the doctors had said that it started off with the flu, and then it went to pneumonia, and then it progressed. And I started to have fluid in my lungs. So I was basically drowning, and my left lung had completely collapsed. And so the night that this happened, my parents, they took me to the hospital, and I just remember my dad running into the emergency room with my little body lifeless, saying, "Help, somebody help, my daughter's dying." And I was just so sick that and my fever was super high, and I was just totally out of it. And I don't even remember getting into the ambulance, but they put me in an ambulance. And while I was in the ambulance, I died.
Hmm.
And when I died, I just immediately, and I was younger, so my memory could be a little foggy about exactly how I left my body, but I just remember it was like that. And everything around me was white. Not the kind of white that we see here on Earth, as in bright white light that we've ever seen. It was different. And there was no wall, there was no ceiling, there was no floor. But I somehow was on my knees, and I had my head down, and I was covering my face, and I was crying. And there was a being that was in front of me that was radiating light, but it was a different type of light as well. I guess you could say it was an aura.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if it was an angel, but I believed that it was Jesus Christ. And I felt that I couldn't look upon the face. And even if I tried, I couldn't, because it was just so bright, so holy, so loving, so pure, that I could not look upon it. And I cried, and a hand, he came towards me and put his hand out. His hand was gigantic, and the markings in it, like, I'll never forget the way this hand looked. And I remember seeing the feet as well, and part of the garment of what he was wearing. And he put his hand out, and I grabbed his hand, and I did not see his face. I do not know what he looked like, but he was telepathically speaking to me as well. And he was saying to me, like, keep your head up, my child, walk with me. And it was always like my child, the way that I was being referred to, by who I thought was Jesus Christ.
When you said markings, are you seeing like the puncture wounds, possibly like Jesus had being nailed to the cross?
Yes, but there also were very distinct, the lines in the hand were just something like I've never seen, like on a regular human palm. It was the hand was obviously shining as well. It was huge, it was massive too. And I grabbed his hand, and he lifted me up, and I stopped crying, and we walked together. And he was basically telling me, as long as you walk in love, and as long as you walk with me, you're going to be okay. And like I said, we weren't verbally speaking. It was more of communication, like telepathically. So I didn't get I've heard people say that they've heard you have to go back. I don't remember that ever being said to me. I just remember waking up in the ambulance after they had been resuscitating me, and I just sat straight up, and I had like tubes in my nose, down my throat, where they had intubated me. And I think they were beginning to, like, I don't know if they were going to do a chest tube right then and there, but they knew that that was something that needed to be done, to kind of get, some of that fluid out or whatever. And I just sat straight up, and and if I just back up a little bit as well, it was difficult for me to understand how I was going to get back into my body, if that makes any sense at all. I was just like, it felt like it was impossible.
Like, because you were so expanded, how could you fit back into a
Yes.
little body?
Yes. And I didn't feel much of an attachment to my body either. It was just like, it was just a shell. I didn't feel much of an attachment to it. But I finally, when I did get back into my body, it was painful, it was scary. And the only thing I can compare it to was like if you were to jump into water with all your clothes on, like heavy jeans and a big sweater, and you just feel weighed down by the wet clothes, like that's how it felt. It felt like just this heaviness because I felt so light and free and just it was different. And then I just slammed back in, to my body and sat straight up and I yanked the tubes out. Probably from being in fear and everything. I yanked the tubes out and I had tore part of my esophagus and like it was a whole thing. And then I remember I just passed back out. Um and then I remember them like flying down a hallway with me in a bed. And then, you know, just it was most of my time in the hospital, my stay was pretty much a blur. Sometimes I would wake up with like priest above me and stuff like that praying over me because they think they thought I was going to die.
Well, how did you change after this experience?
There were a lot of changes actually. I would know like small little things. Like I would be at home and I would be like, "Hey mom, your best friend's about to call." And her best friend would call.
Mm-hmm.
Or I would, just know events that were going to happen. And it's not something that I really have control over. It just comes to me at random. And it still happens to this day. And then, so that was my first experience with that.
Has that experience faded over the years?
No. I still have it, and I'm very sensitive to other people's energies, and it created a lot of anxiety for me as well, like being in big groups of people because I could feel a lot of people's energy, like if they were having a bad day, if they were sad, or if they were happy, but all of that coming to you at one time is very overwhelming sometimes and draining. So a lot of times I would find myself just trying to, be a hermit and stay to myself.
Have you noticed that you have any other abilities besides this premonition?
Yes. I have a very heightened ability to kind of how do I put it? It's just sometimes I just know what people are thinking, or I know I just know things sometimes. I know what they're thinking. I know what they did. I know what they're gonna do. It's a psychic ability. But like I said before, it's not something that I can just like tap into on my own. It just comes to me at random.
Right. Well, Casey, thank you so much for coming and sharing. It sounds like you may have other experiences, and if you do, I hope you come back and share them with us. I have to run because I've got 2 people waiting on me, but also I want to say that it sounds like you're in a pageant or something. So if it's something where people can vote for you online, feel free to let people know where to go.
Yeah, definitely. I'm doing a lot of my promotion and my work in healing childhood trauma and working with victims of domestic abuse and violence. Uh, and you can find me on mainly my Instagram page, which is MRSKASEYMUNZER.
All right. Thank you so much for coming and sharing, and have a great rest of your weekend.
You as well.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Bye. All right, next up is Stephen, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly. Is it Freer or Fryer? We're about to find out. And Leslie Kings is here. I wonder if Leslie's going to play us another song. Be great. I'm kind of put that out there in case Leslie is. You don't have to, Leslie, but if you are, you can get warmed up. And if you weren't here, Leslie was here last week and he played us some music. And we'll see if how Steve, I shouldn't have said Stephen, I should have said Steve. Oh, he's going, oh, there he is. He has a nice background. Let's see, we're waiting. Let me see. No, I just have to say asked. Oh, are you there? Can you hear me? Hello? Steve?
Yes.
There you are. Nice background.
Talking to me?
Talking to you. Where are you zooming from tonight?
Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin.
Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. I think I might have had a guest from there before. Or at least pretty
Here,
close
Green Bay.
by. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, and what do you have to share with us?
Oh, well, what do I share? I conduct a monthly afterlife discussion group locally.
Cool.
I've read hundreds of books, and I've watched many of your wonderful interviews, of course,
Thank you.
with the NDEs and all that. So I try to bring all this to people that don't know much.
Where do you have this? Where do you have this discussion group?
I do this at the local senior center.
Oh, okay, great. I thought possibly
Which
it
I've
was
been doing
online.
it since February, so we're on I think our 10th month, 11th month.
That's awesome. Have you had an experience yourself?
Like an out of body thing?
Out of body, NDE, seen spirits, ghosts, anything paranormal?
No, but my sister's a medium.
Oh, wow.
So together we publish a magazine that she started called the innervoicemagazine.com. And it's mostly for her. It's a platform for her to express herself and to talk about her experiences channeling angels for people.
How did she get that ability?
Well, probably about 30 some years ago, she had just started a new relationship. She was living in Milwaukee area. So they just got started and it was really wonderful and everything. And then suddenly he died. He was a young man. He died in his sleep at his mom's house. And she found out about it the next day at her place of work. It just devastated her. And I think at some point, somebody pointed her in the direction of a medium. And so the medium said, yeah, we could put you in touch with your dead boyfriend, but you also have these abilities. So she started out learning to do automatic writing, which was really interesting. Her initial attempts would be a letter the whole length of a page.
Wow.
I've seen samples. But she's really stuck with it, and over the years got really good at it. So
has she communicated with the boyfriend?
Oh, that was so long ago. I'm sure. Yes. But about three years ago, my wife and partner died in California, where I was living, and she's been able to bring her through.
Oh, wow.
So that's been really comforting.
Interesting. And she brought her through via automatic writing?
She does kind of both. She prefer like you give her questions, and then she goes off on the side and does a deep meditation, and then she does usually automatic writing at that point, answering your questions. But it all goes through high-level angels that are way up there somewhere. And if she's channeling or putting you in touch with a deceased loved one, it goes through the angels. So there's very little chance for hanky-pank from lower level spirits.
Do you think
That's possible.
Are you saying that the angels are communicating with her higher self, and then they send that communication down the line to
Well,
her
sort of,
here?
they're sort of a gatekeeper. I would put it that way. Yeah. So if you study the mediumship enough, and I've been a spiritualist and I've lectured at spiritualist churches, you find out over time that there can be low level spirits who are pretty close to the earth level,
Mm-hmm.
and they're in the darker realms, and they sometimes like to play pranks on people and sitting in circles and so forth.
It's interesting that you say that, because I had a guest a few days ago that said that we were talking about ETs, which some people think ETs are demons, but there's a low level ETs that are just above us in the astral. They're still above us, but they're lower level ETs, and they just are here possibly causing havoc. I wonder if we're speaking of the same thing.
Right. When I was at the spiritualist church in California, the teacher there, the trainer, always said to do a little prayer when you first go into a trance state, to ask for the highest and the best contacts that are available. And that usually takes care of it right there.
Right. Go beyond. So what is the most fascinating case that your sister has told you that she has, connected with? Something that blew your mind?
I don't know. She told me about one where this young lady was, she's new to all this, and she wanted to know, because the one thing you want to know is to have evidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you're really talking to your dead loved one. In this case, it was, I think, her dad. And I don't want to use his curse words, but he, he gave enough information to let her know that he was a motorcycle. It was like a Hell's Angels type,
Mm-hmm.
and she got the picture. So
Oh.
that's just one thing. She doesn't usually tell me many details, because most of it's private between the medium and her subject.
Yes. Kind of
But
privacy, just like having a
yeah,
doctor.
so we both have written books. She's written a book which contains all of her, the best kind of sessions, Q&A kind of things, and a lot of it is applicable to everyday life.
All right. Well, where can we find these books? What are they called? What are the titles?
Well, let me see if I can look it up here quick, because I'm really nervous right now.
It's just you and me and about 300 other people.
Well, also I do book reviews. So
Oh, cool.
in the magazine called The Inner Voice, I don't know if I can put a link up. It's the innervoicemagazine.com.
Innervoicemagazine.com, right?
Right.
Innervoicemagazine.com. So I think people will get that.
Yeah, I can put a
It's
chat.
pretty easy to remember.
I'll slam it in the chat here. I think I know what I'm doing here.
And do you find your books on that website as well, or do you find that or you find your books on Amazon?
Well, in her case, I'm trying to remember her name of her book. She does angel readings, obviously, off of the website.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see about the Inner Voice. It's all about that. You know what I'll do? I'll put links in the chat that are direct to Amazon, so you can look it up. But my book was about my healing. In 2001, I was diagnosed with a stage 4 chronic lymphocytic leukemia, and I had just moved to California recently to be with my new love, and it was all wonderful until I got that diagnosis. And then I was having some problems, so I went to the doctor, and he said, "You have stage 4." They sent me to Stanford, which wasn't far away, and they said, "Well, you need to go back to your hospital, do 8 months worth of chemo, then come back here and we'll suck your bone marrow out, do a BMT, a bone marrow transplant, and you'll have to wear a bee bonnet for like a month because you'll have no immune system. And I thought about that for a while. I said, I don't think so. So I went and found alternatives and I healed myself.
Wow, that's amazing.
So I just wrote a book about it a few months ago, and it's how I healed myself of my stage 4 chronic lymphocytic leukemia. So
That's amazing. Well, Steve? Yeah, also, if you what you may want to do is I don't know if you know what Discord is, but Discord is kind of like Facebook, but a little bit different. It's free to join, and once you join, if you in the description below the video, there's a link to my server. It's kind of like my chat rooms. And if you like, once you join up and go to the room, feel free to put all your links there.
I think I did join. I haven't attended your Saturday night sessions for a little while, but didn't they used to be on YouTube?
Well, this video will go. I mean, it's on YouTube live right now, and it'll stay there as a video.
I was looking for it.
Right.
I wasn't trying to be a guest.
No. Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. Here you are.
I somehow found this link. So
yeah, that's okay. I'm happy to have you. And on that note, I need to run. I've got two people waiting on me, but it was thank you for coming and sharing with us, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Steve. All right, next up, Mr. Kings. We'll see what's up with Mr. Kings this evening. Now Leslie is in Hong Kong, by the way, which is pretty amazing that, we're just hanging out with somebody in Hong Kong. And I didn't give any type of, we've just been really busy. I didn't give any announcements or anything. Was it yesterday? Yesterday I recorded a video with a world famous astrologer, and I'll be posting that tomorrow night. And I didn't give any type of, we've just been really busy. I didn't give Leslie, if you can, mute the YouTube. Was it yesterday?
Yes, I do. No.
There you go.
It's okay now.
Hi, Leslie.
Hello. Very morning here.
Good morning in Hong Kong. Did you have dim sum this morning?
I just very little things. I put it inside for I can feel comforted, but maybe after, Yeah, thank you.
That's great. Well, have you downloaded a new song for us?
No, I will download now.
Oh, you'll download it now. Okay. So I didn't realize you do that when you play, you do it in real time. You don't download it to memory and then play it.
Exact. So I have no clue what I will play. Yeah.
Basically,
yes,
maybe you're just channeling music then.
We can share also channeling. Yes. Revelation, channeling. Yes. I just have a surprise here for you and for the audience.
Thank you. I like surprises.
I'm sending for you another Zoom right now. Can you see? Maybe EW.
Yeah, I just said to add another Leslie to the stream. Let's see what's going on. We want to probably mute I'm going to mute the second one because we don't want, it'll probably produce an echo or feedback. So don't worry about that. I'm just asking you to start the video. There we go.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you got a second camera so we can see your hands on the keyboard.
Yes, and I'm not sure for you
That's
can
really
see the
cool.
right position.
It's just a little bit of oh no, your hand's still there. All right, yeah, this will be really awesome. You're getting really high tech on us, Leslie.
But wait. I hope so. Can you hear?
Yes.
Can you hear? Okay. So you can see, right? Both two. Can you see both two sides?
Yeah. I see both.
Okay, just not sure for we are real time or not, Okay. The other things is I have a question for the audience.
Okay. You're speaking, you need to speak a little louder.
a little bit louder. Okay. Let us see. I careful. Okay, maybe I speak louder is better for continue. I have just one microphone.
Okay.
What I like to say is a question.
All right. A question for the chat.
Yes. And if somebody can answer, I have a gift CD for anybody. So if answer 1 or 100, you know, I can send this CD as a blessing, but need to be a right answer. So the question is, who is the composer in the Bible who composed the largest number of compositions? Okay.
We'll see what they say.
Yeah,
You're going to have to go back through the chat and figure that out.
Okay, I do something. Yeah, so let's downloading. Let us see what's happening. I am very happy to be here with you.
Likewise.
Maybe use this sound. Oh, that was okay. Different keys. I put this here. The musician is like this. Okay, let's see.
Bravo. Bravo. That was awesome.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah. So anybody wrote anything?
Well, there are
Nobody.
many answers there. I don't know, I don't know the
I know
answer.
I just have one answer.
You will have to
So,
figure
what's the
that out
name?
with the people there. I'll let you do that. I'll let you, you can message
Okay.
them and you can contact them.
Okay,
Now, you got your YouTube channel up and running, right?
yes,
Leslie
yes,
Kings. It's the same as just your name.
yes, and in the YouTube channel in the about when listing about address and a lot of information, can see my email address. So if the answer there, they can give the address and I will send. But now, at this moment, I give the answer.
All right. What's the answer?
The answer is definitely not Moses.
Not Moses.
Not David.
Not David. Oh, I saw that was many people yet said that. Typed David.
But is Solomon.
Solomon.
No. If somebody answers Solomon, really, really. Where is in the Bible? 1 Kings chapter 4.
1 Kings chapter.
And verse 32.
What does it say?
It say, he also, that means Solomon, also spoke 3,000 proverbs, and his songs were 1,005. Very concrete. But why? If you remember, the Song of Songs, or Solomon's songs, is songs. So this is makes so many, many, many songs in the Bible. So if anybody winner until now, that was the last chance for Lady shared, just email to me for, oh, I like you CD. It's very special for, it's US. It was for China and US.
Is your CD available like on iTunes?
No, I'm very not updated.
Well,
I need to do many
if somebody
things.
wanted to get your CD, where would they find it?
Just email to me and I send as a free. It's not costing, even the postcode. If somebody gives a little donation, thank you very much. But I don't selling and God's stuff. I giving, and I basically live by faith and live by donation.
That's very generous.
Thank you so much, Jeff, today, and see you next week.
Thank you very much. See you next week. Yeah, I love it. I love it how you added the piano to see your hands on the keys.
And continue just one microphone, and I'm sweating with many technicians. How we can be improve and improve and improve.
Well, I couldn't see the sweat. You just played. You played. You were playing like it was second nature.
But how can find your music? Try see JeffMara music channel, and I cannot find any.
Well, message me and I'll send you the link, or maybe she can put it. Maybe she can put a link through in the chat. JeffMara. Yeah, maybe she'll put that in the chat.
Yeah, hopefully not secret.
All right, brother. Thank you for coming and seeing us. I hope to see you next week. Have a great rest of your weekends, Leslie.
God bless you.
God bless you. Cheers. Oh, he's gone. And he made it here tonight. He is still the #1 contributor, still has never missed he's never missed a podcast, which is amazing. For at least a year, maybe a year and a half, he's never missed a podcast.
Merry Christmas.
What happened to hello, darling?
Hello, darling. I can do either, whatever you want, darling. I've been saying Merry Christmas for so long.
You can mix the two and say Merry Christmas, darling.
Merry Christmas, darling. It's
I
fun
was
without you, isn't it?
I was just bragging about you that you have perfect attendance here at the live stream. It's like being in school, you know, and they
Yeah, I
said
didn't
you
go
have
out at all
perfect
tonight.
attendance.
Yeah, I go across the street and there's a gas station and people walk by and I say Merry Christmas, God bless you. Just just have interactions with people.
Are you still going to the Christmas place?
Yesterday I went down to the Bentleyville again. Yeah, yes, I probably said hi to like 500 people.
That'd be awesome. Too bad you don't have
You
a
know, and I
Santa.
just sat there. I found a nice spot and I said Merry Christmas.
It would be awesome if you had a Santa suit. Because then, you know, people would love to hear you say Merry Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.
There you go.
But I don't have a beard.
The Santa suits usually have the, you know, the fake beard, the beard, the hat, the whole shebang. Right?
Well, yeah. So when I told you, like, I had, you know, Mary talks to me, you know, not, and then God the Father, and then she said, "We like you clean shaven, or just, you know, like that, and then just wearing, you know, non clothes that don't have, you know, symbols and whatnot like that." And that's just how I like to look.
Well,
So I mean, I don't have any desire to dress up like Santa Claus.
right. It's not necessary.
Santa Claus the juggler.
Well, that would be cool. It would be interesting if Santa Claus was doing impressions.
Let me tell you something, folks. People do not like Donald Trump impressions. I start doing it and they say, hold up. Do someone else, do somebody else. We don't like him. We don't like him, folks.
But
it's because the media, you know, they love to, with politics, you know, polarize everything.
Right. So you're going to have to take.
But I have my list of like 50 impressions.
Wow. Uh-oh. Frozen. You're frozen.
I can hear you. So
I can hear you. I just can't. You're just frozen on my screen. You're looking at your list.
Well, that's because the internet's not working too well. You know, back when I was growing up in Bedford Falls, the internet was flawless, but it was a wonderful internet life back then, you know, years and years ago.
You're frozen, and it looks like you're checking your list, and you're checking it twice.
Oh, I'm gonna be checking my list. Yeah, my internet's probably bad. My computer's not doing too well, is it, folks?
Well, we want it to win and keep on winning. Oh, now you're back. There you are. Have you put up
It
any
even
new...
froze up on, yeah, my computer's not doing too well here.
Now, for those of you who may or may not know, Steven runs a YouTube channel. I think it's just called Steven Cake, and he puts all types of videos up there. What have you put up any new ones lately?
No.
That's
the thing. It's like I'm kind of in a different phase. I mentioned like I'm in the 40 days in the desert phase.
Yeah, but that should be over by now.
This is going to be going on for a while because I got a lot of you know, they straightened him up in 40 days. They're like, we got him nice and straight, but it's like, I'm really bent over. This is going to take a little while to get you back. You know, get me aligned with God's will. But like first they gotta, like we mentioned, get me a support system.
Yeah.
Get me a good support system because, you know, Mama died, so you know, Bubba died, so we got to get a support system. And Jenny, you know, she's doing drugs, so that's not good. So we got to get a support system, a good caring dentist, you know, because the problem is, I mentioned, is people want to do things their way. There's the right way, and then their way, and then so like people need to do things. You know, I say care and do what's right. You know, care is like taking problems seriously. You know, there's a quote in the Bible. Jesus says, "Make things right with people." You know, solve it on your own. Work it out with each other, because otherwise, God has to solve it, and that means they have to punish, and they don't want to do that because they love everyone, so they don't want to do that. But they have to. If people they get locked in their way, they get locked in, and they just will not change. And so there's no other solution.
So you were saying God has to punish?
Yeah, just there's a saying Jesus had in the Bible, make things right with people, because otherwise you'll be handed over to the judge and you'll be punished, and you won't get out till you paid every last penny. Because this is what I notice, is that people get locked in their ways. And so it's like they just do not want to turn it around. That's my parents. They don't want to turn it around. So this is the paradox with my dad, is that in most aspects of his life, he's a good person. It's just in this one thing, him filing down my teeth, destroying my life. He doesn't want to tell anyone. He doesn't want to make it right. My parents' attitude is, just you go solve it. And I go, no, don't create a nightmare for me and then tell me to solve it. You people have to do what's right. You have to either give it back or compensate. That's, if someone took your bike, you'd say either give it back or compensate. If they said just go, that's the whole
Do you think that
Go ahead, Jeff.
Do you think the grinding down of your teeth was just an accident, and maybe you need veneers or something? Or maybe he was intending to, because if someone gets veneers, don't they have to grind down their teeth first?
Yeah, there is a saying though, like, if you keep letting it go on though, it's not a mistake anymore. So even if it was a mistake, he's not correcting it. So like, we all make mistakes. I understand that, but you got to correct them. You got to get it at least going in the right direction. They didn't want to admit to any error, and they didn't want, 7 years ago, had it filed down even more. And that made me suicide. 7 years I've been in this group home. And it's like 2 months ago, God said, we're going to start turning this ship around, So yeah. I mentioned they put me in the God slot. So I say there's like, I used to say there's two worlds. There's the good person world, the please and the thank you, and you get along with people. The bad person world, they just do whatever they want. They do drugs. It's abuse. It's horrible things going on in that world. And then I say that there's a third world called God's world, and they just love everyone. They want to help everyone. They want to love everyone. Jesus said, hey, I want to serve you. And I watched a clip of it's The Chosen, like they're hyping it up. I was like, Jesus loved people a lot more than that. Like, he really did. He really loved people. Like, the love wasn't coming through, I didn't think, because it's like, man, if you saw me going around with people, I just love people. Yeah. When I go up to people, man, I want to give them a hug. I want to shake their hand. I want to tell them, hey, I love you, but I'm holding it back. I'm containing it down. I'm keeping it down.
Where do you think this, all this love from within you stems from?
Oh, they put it in me. Yeah. So it's like we have our own consciousness, our own self. And then they just let's just put a big on top of you. And here's them. Here's their kind. It's like on me. And I mentioned like they got a dial that they could just, when I'm doing loving stuff, they give me energy. And when I'm thinking about bad stuff, about things in the past, they just start cranking it down. And if I get angry, they just crank my energy down. Yeah, so I can't do anything. So it's like they gotta like a control on me.
I think last week you remember that you had been talking to your brother.
Yeah, I actually talked to him for the first time in like a few years.
It's great. So
he's getting it, because he did mention, God's creation and whatnot like that. So he's getting it, but they gotta make amends though, and they can't just. But here's something I was thinking about from what I heard is that, so God loves people so much that they'll show up as Jesus, they'll show up as Buddha, they'll show up as Dr. Hawkins, whoever, they just, because they love people so much, when you're when you're in the God slot, then they're just revealing themselves to you. So to me, it's Mary and God the Father. But when you're regular person, they're coming through as a savior figure, as a like a Jesus.
Are you saying that during NDEs?
Oh yeah, Jesus came through to me, but it's like there was the person that lived 2,000 years ago, and then there's the energy, and the God is the energy of Jesus, and that's what I experienced about 20 years ago.
Now I don't know if you've ever told us
the presence.
Did you have an NDE 20 years ago?
No, but I've had. I've had many spiritual experiences. So about 20 years ago, I was going through a hard phase. This is before my life was destroyed. And I was praying to a friend. He said, pray to Jesus. So I did before going to bed. I got pulled out of my body and I felt like surrounded by the presence of Jesus, or the God's, love. And then he affirmed things in the Bible to me. But I've also had conversations with God about things in the Bible that didn't make sense. For instance, the turn the other cheek. It's like I asked, like, that doesn't make sense. What does it mean? And they said, well, today it would be if someone pats you on the back, pat them back. So if someone does you a favor, return the favor. So that's how it would translate today. So there's a lot of stuff like that in the Bible. Like the pigs being ran into the water, that was the meat. It's because when you butcher pigs incorrectly, because things have to be done out of, when you do things out of love, it blesses it. When you just go, that puts curses in the meat. And they threw the meat into the water or something, because it's like pork and pig, it's like two different words and it's translations. And
yeah, well,
but they said
because I thought that you're not, well, I guess depends on which part of the Bible. I guess the Old Testament, you're not allowed to eat pork. But in the New Testament, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. So, well, your body doesn't really need much protein, because they told me it just goes out the other end anyway. So you really don't need to eat that much. People eat it because they like it, but you don't need that much.
Have you heard of breatharians?
I think you mentioned that once. I didn't really look into it too much.
I tried to get someone as a guest and I couldn't, but there are people that don't eat anything at all. They just energy from breathing. And there's supposedly like only about 5 people on the planet that can do it.
But I love eating too much to do that. Give me some chocolate. You know what I mean? I love that.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
Yeah, but there's tons of there's tons of analogies in movies. I mentioned that, like, whoa, dude, at Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, like they totally got analogies in there, dude. It's like hell is like a bunch of different torments. It's not just one fire pit or whatever. And then this is something someone else mentioned. It's like we all have souls, and those are non-material. Mm-hmm. So, and then we come into a realm. It's like there's all these different worlds, or you could call them scenarios, game worlds, whatever. And that there's actually portals. It's like you could be a new soul. In one sense you are, because it's like then you don't have the memories. Mm-hmm. So it's complicated, but it's also simple. It's like we're in this Earth scenario. There's 7 dimensions in this scenario. This is Earth. They want to try to get world peace. And so to get world peace, we need love and kindness in relationships. So when everyone's loving towards each other, you can't have war. So that's what they want. Everyone to feel loved and kindness to just spread. And then we'll just get world peace. It'll happen like that.
I hope it would be. It sounds too easy.
Yeah, and there's an end game to this world too. And the end game is we all get to be enlightened. We all get to do miracles, and like the abilities they gave me. Like things just happen easily and naturally. So I can move and juggle. I just go up to people and I say, "Hey, want to see some juggling?" There
was something I was going to ask you. It slipped my mind. Oh well. It just went away. Flew away.
Darling, try for it back, darling. Marty, this isn't 1985 anymore. This is the future. But I'd like the past better, so we're going to live in 1885.
I've been telling you that I don't know. You got to work on it for me. Thurston Howell III and
Thurston Howell III. Yes, I've been working on that one for a while. Wait, it was my flaming yawn 3 holes ago. It's not here yet.
We love you. That one, like
I'll
I said,
have to put some juggling up, but it's like I said, they got this switch on me, so it's hard for me to do stuff. But
you'll be back. I'm pretty sure you'll be back.
But I love everyone. I love you all.
We love you. And I guess I got to do what I got to do.
Gotta do what you gotta do, man. You know, this, we're working on it. We're working on it, man.
We can
we're
work it
gonna do
out.
it. We can work it out, until Yoko shows up, and then it's different,
I just want to say God bless everyone. Have a great night. Thank you,
Thank
Jeff.
you,
Thank you,
Stephen. God
Mara.
bless you.
Love
We
you all.
love you. Good night. Cheers, brother.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, so we're just a little bit over time. It was a crazy busy night, which is awesome. I want every Saturday night to be that busy where I don't have to, I don't even have time to like make any announcements. And there was an announcement I said I was going to say at the very end. And what was that announcement that I said I would make it? Oh, with PD Pete from the beginning. So again, they're actually doing all the work, but we want to make compilation videos of like people describing the same thing over and over. So like someone will say, I saw an angel and it was 12 feet tall. And many people kind of voice the same thing. So I can make a video of just like person after person after person. I saw this angel and it was 10 feet tall. I saw this angel, or whatever. And so we're kind of categorizing the video, and Pete has been spearheading this project because there's no way I have time to go back and listen to 400 NDEs. We're barely getting day by day. I mean, sometimes you may have seen that I try to post them by 8, and sometimes it's like 9 o'clock by the time we finally get the video out. So it's not easy to get it done every day. So anyways, if you want to help in that, you can join the Discord. As I was mentioning earlier, Discord is totally free, and I have chat rooms in there, which they call a server. And you sign up for your free account, and then if you go to the link below, it says JeffMara. I think in the description below, there's a link for Discord. You use that link, and then you go to the JeffMara podcast server. And how many people are in there now? 468 plus 15, 78, 483, about 484 people. And there is a room within my rooms called JMP Timestamp Master List. And if you go there, you can hook up with Pete and he can help you out. And it would be greatly appreciated if you help us out so we can get that done. Also below in the description is our Facebook page. You can like that on Facebook. There's my personal Facebook profile. You're welcome to friendly. I'm just accepting friends till it hits my limit of 5,000, and there we go. We have the JeffMara NDE clips YouTube channel, and that's just clips of NDEs only. And then what I do is I just kind of cut out the NDE, the guest talking, and that's it. So they're very short compared to the normal hour-long videos. And then one of these days I'm going to start doing meditation music and stuff. So I just kind of threw a bunch of old stuff that I had, music videos, in a new channel that'll be geared for, called JeffMara Music. And there's a handful of videos there, and our merch link is there. And as you can see here's my JeffMara podcast shirt. So I think that's it. Let's see. As I mentioned earlier, tomorrow I'll be posting. I did a podcast. I recorded one yesterday with Susan Miller, and she's a very famous astrologer. Maybe one of the most famous in the world. And she has had the very first astrology website. It's like 27 years old. I mean, it was done in the 90s, back when the internet was so new and raw in the old days. And so we talked about, she went through every sign and gave the trends for each sign for 2023. So if you want to know what the trend is for your sign, you may want to check that one out. And then I have to record an NDE tomorrow, and then I'll be meeting on Monday with the Reverend Michael Carter that's a guest sometimes on the show Ancient Aliens, and we'll be talking about the mysteries of Christmas and his own personal Christmas kind of journey. Got another NDE to record on Tuesday, another one on Wednesday, On Thursday, there's a guy named, I'll be recording his UFO. On Friday, I think it's an NDE. I didn't put it in my notes. I think next Saturday I got to record an NDE. And then, oh, just to remember that on instead of our normal Saturday night on the 24th and 31, we're going to move the live stream to Friday night. So we won't be doing the live stream Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve because there'll be no point because nobody will watch. So we'll have the live streams on the 23rd and the 30th. And I got contacted today, which may be really fascinating. If you didn't see the video that we posted last night with Kathleen Marden, and if you haven't, you might want to check it out if you're into UFOs, because there's probably one of the, if not the most famous UFO stories is of Betty and Barney Hill. And they've been investigated and everything, and she's the niece of Betty Hill, and so we talked about that, and she told me about that there's someone, I guess, that channels these aliens, the Zetas, and she had a miraculous healing from this channeling, which she wasn't even expecting. Anyways, the guy, the channeler, I guess saw the video and contacted me. So I think I've scheduled them to come on, and we're going to talk about that. Maybe we'll get I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I'm going to be recording that on the 23rd. So the great thing about the podcast is it's getting busier and busier, and more guests and more subscribers, and it's even getting busier now where I'm getting more and more people reaching out to me wanting to be on the show. So that's making my job even easier as well. And I don't know if there's anything else that we... Yeah, the 2 Friday nights is not a permanent thing for Karen Doyle. Those are not permanent. It's just for, and looks like Swamper already answered her. No, just for Christmas and New Year's Eve. Yes, that's it. So that's it, guys. It's a good night. It's 9:12, and thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thank you for watching our videos, and we really appreciate you guys. I wish you guys a great rest of your weekend. We love you guys. Have a great night, and God bless you.